initially did the player. Pollard changes direction. A brilliant start for the Stormers inside the opening 90 seconds. Goodness me, that's magnificent.
Zels, is it you? I ask this question every week. 5 matches the Stormers have played overseas. In the URC, they played in Wales against the Scarlets. Then they went to Italy. Then they went to Munster, the province of Munster in Limerick. And then in the Investec Champions Cup, they went to Bayonne. And they have won all 5 matches.
Oh, mate.
The tide turned when you bade me farewell.
No, mate.
And you took up residence.
Man, I think the secret is that I haven't traveled with them. I've stayed here. I think that's been the thing. I'm the lucky charm at home. No, look, the plan is on point and the results are coming. And some spectacular results with the mix of players. It's not like they're riding only big gun names. It's a bunch of youngsters that come in. The whole next man up philosophy seems to be working. Fundamentals are great. The problem solving is great on the fly in the sort of heat of battle. And they're notching results. Milestone wins, mate. Bayonne haven't lost at home since they lost to the Bulls in April. That all changed at the weekend. It's amazing.
And that was Bayonne's only defeat at home in the whole of last season in all competitions, was to the Bulls. Big scalp for the Stormers. Opening round of the Investec Champions Cup.
Oof.
My favorite competition. Just the quality. There were 12 matches. And again, I keep on saying to the South African audience, if you follow football, this is like Champions League.
Yeah.
This is Tuesday, Wednesday night kind of games. This is Real Madrid playing against, dare I say it, Liverpool at the moment. Chelsea playing against Barcelona. Bayern Munich playing against whoever, Juventus. But this is Sale Sharks, Glasgow Warriors, Saracens, Clermont, Bulls, Bordeaux. Leinster, Harlequins, Scarlets, Bristol Bears, Bath, Munster, Pau, Saints, Toulouse, Sharks, that's South African Sharks, Gloucester, Castres, and Edinburgh against Toulon. I know it's Cast, not Castres, but you know what I mean.
I know.
French teams.
I like it when you talk foreign.
I like it when you talk foreign. Okay, they are bloody good, these French teams, especially when they play at home, which again makes their win of the Stormers so much more remarkable. The big guns that fire the shots, for me, obviously, Stormers put themselves right at the top of that table with the away win.
Yep.
Bordeaux came to Loftus, played like champions, played like the defending champions. A massive statement win for them in the opening round. Saints, for those, again, in South Africa who aren't following the top 14, Pau, second in the table going into this opening round. They have been very good. They got an exciting young team, some great backs for Northampton Saints to go there and get the win. I know they got it right at the death. And then Johan van Kraan's Bath. Statement performance at the Rec, 40 points to 14 against Munster. Munster doesn't go away from home easily and get done, regardless of who they pick. And then we knew Toulouse would win, given the inexperienced nature of the South African Sharks team that went there. Any of the other teams that kind of produced a performance that you would think surprised you out of kilter or very much in keeping with what you thought? There were 5 away wins out of the 12, which is bloody high. That's 2 bloodies I've said already. Bloody marvellous weekend I had in Pretoria, but we're going to get to that.
It's the Takamaka. Yeah. No, look, mate, those results you pointed out are definitely the ones that were on my radar. Bath, Munster. I thought Saracens' big win against Clermont, that was obviously one that the Sharks will be keeping an eye on as well. They play them. And then Leinster did Harlequins, lost Atticus Neyman in the process to an injury. But I think the big takeaway is the away wins there. That is quite unusual. And I wonder how that affects everyone's planning in terms of getting back into the competition, because now you've got to win at home and then you have to win away the next time you play, you know?
Yeah, you've got to be looking for 3 from 4 at least if you're thinking home ground advantage in the last 16. 2 from 4 can still get you through, but then you're going on that road.
Cannon fodder, man.
Yeah, then you cannon fodder, especially because you're balancing it with your own domestic competition that you're playing in. But when I look at the importance of home wins, and Edinburgh, 33-20 against Toulon. That's a big win for them. And that Toulon side was not a second string side. It was stacked with their best players that they sent to Edinburgh. So that was a very impressive win. We always knew Toulouse would win well, 56-19. Young Shark showed a little bit of ticket to get in and score a couple of tries.
Yep.
Gloucester at home, I don't see any of those two teams, them or Cas, going through. 34-14, I mean, challenging beyond like the top 8.
Yeah.
And then Van Grans Bath, I mean, they did the treble, even though it was the EPCR Challenge Cup they won. The knockout one and then in the Prem, and then obviously they won the Gallagher Prem last season. But they came and stuck in the Investec Champions Cup last season in the league rounds. This time a home draw, straight up at the Rec against a very, very strong team, and they won 40-14. Johan van Graan's done amazing stuff there with Rasmus extending his contract to 2063.
You'll be staying in Bath.
I think you'll be staying in Bath, and you'll be staying in Bath and eyeing out that Scotland job maybe, or the Welsh job if he's going to coach at international level.
Yeah.
So huge performance from them.
And then Munster have now lost 2 in a row. So lost to the Stormers, then lost to Bath. They'll want to regroup this week and get back on the horse. But interesting gut check time for them, because they're obviously a very, very powerful team, serious contenders. And to lose out like they did against Bath is quite a statement.
And then Scarlet's Bristol Bears, probably the most disappointing match of the round, 16-17.
Yep.
Good win for Bristol away from home, but a bit of a snore fest.
Yeah.
I was home when I look at some of the other matches, and we're going to get obviously to the Bulls and Bordeaux. I was fortunate to be up there this weekend, and that was like Harlem Globetrotter stuff in that first 35 minutes.
Yeah.
La Rochelle at home, 39-20, too strong for Leicester's Tigers. They also didn't send their strongest team, Tigers. They banking on getting 2 home wins, and obviously coming to Cape Town and causing some damage against
some
the
bonus
Stormers.
points, mate.
That should be interesting. Yeah. Saracens 47-10. They're in Durban this weekend against the real Sharks. That's the Siya Kolisi Sharks, the big guns who were kept behind for that game. Important there for the Sharks. Not all is lost. You go away in this competition and you lose to Toulouse at Toulouse. That's kind of a gimme for most teams. So they get a statement win against Saracens. They're right back in the mix. So let's not
As the Stormers have shown, mate, the next man up thing, the guys that have to fill in when you have injuries, the more experience they have and the better prep they are, the better for the team. And as much as a big loss at Toulouse isn't great for everyone's confidence, the reality is that all of those players, many of them off the radar guys, second stringers, third stringers, have banked some valuable experience, some rugby playing experience, the travel aspect, the foreign grounds aspect, the atmosphere, Champions Cup. So all of that stuff is going to stand the Sharks squad in good stead going forward. It may not be the result you want now, but it is a bit of an investment in the future.
But they have been a shambles, the Sharks.
Indeed.
The organisation itself, the way the situation was handled with Plumtree was very poor. It's the way that the side has played in the URC, and obviously a young side that was picked and was basically lambs to the slaughter at Toulouse. Just very poor for an organisation that prides themselves as being one of the best. Very disappointing as well. The John Plumtree statements that he's released, that he's drained, that he's tired. I think JP Peterson, great player, World Cup winner 2007. He was handed a hospital pass with a Currie Cup team, sent to Pretoria. They took 60 points. I just fear that he's been given another hospital pass at the moment. You hope that the senior players can rally around him. I just don't get a thing where a guy who says I'm drained, who says I'm mentally fatigued, I'm out of here, is still there to be a mentor and a guide to the guy who's just come in. It just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, look, I don't know enough about what's going on behind the scenes there. It is odd. I think the reality of it, what it does showcase is that the Sharks are in full reboot mode, in the sense that new coach, working with youngsters again, to try and get them up to speed. And I think the Sharks are in the throes of a big stock take there in terms of who they are, where they are, and what they're trying to achieve. I think going into the season, you would have thought, look, these guys are pretty close. With the talent on the roster, it's going to click anytime soon. But what recent developments have shown is that we're a lot closer to a reboot than we are to a championship.
I agree totally. I mean, you've got the Galacticos, as we call them. Marco Mazzotti, the owner, brought in nearly every Springbok he could, the biggest names. Even Etzebet's not going to be there. He's suspended for 12 weeks. You and I are among those who believe that he got off lightly. It could have been a lot longer, but he won't play in the Champions Cup whatsoever. if they do drop down to the Challenge Cup, he may still get in there in the tail end of that. Then you look at Keo, who had a lot to say post the Springboks ending their season. Said he was coming to Cape Town to see his family, watch a bit of sevens. He was in good spirits, but he said enough. It's an embarrassment for anyone who's playing for the Sharks at the moment to be getting the results that they're getting, and that he takes it on the chin as a Springbok captain, as a leader. It starts with him. He says, don't just look at coaches, look at players as well. So I'm expecting some kind of performance. I don't say they'll beat Saracens necessarily, but I'm expecting some kind of performance.
No, totally.
If a guy like Keo is saying those kind of things, then he will be available to play this weekend. Obviously, Thursday show, we'll chat in detail about that once we know what those squads look like. But from the coaching down to the players, the indifference, the lack of performance, the lack of gees has just been so noticeable. And you want the Sharks to be strong. You want them to be challenging in Europe. You want them to be in the top 4 of the URC, not the bottom 3 of the URC. Yeah. And for South African rugby, and I think where the Sharks recruitment drive has got it so horribly wrong is in how they recruited and where they recruited. They still don't have a 10, basically. When you've got the likes of Andre the Giant there, Ethan Hooker there, Lucky Am's now left. They're losing another scrum off. I think it's Grant Williams who's going overseas. Yeah. You've got a Keo there that I think he's played well and he's kind of put his body on the line. Pepsi Buthelez is the kind of guy you think they want to build a team around because he's on the fringe of the box selection, but not quite there.
Yep.
Jason Jenkins hardly played. Their front rows have hardly played. Ox has been injured now. He's out long term as well. Bongi, they haven't got the best out of him. So when you look at those players and you think, are some of them past it? We don't think so because they go and do it for the Springboks. Just something is rotten there. It's not going well. And that quality of player shouldn't be producing such indifference.
No, totally. And maybe it's got something to do with the lack of sort of common cause or clarity around what they're trying to do on the field. But there's just too much quality there. I mean, I agree. And some of the recruitment stuff, it is frustrating to watch the Sharks have an abundance of players in some positions and a dearth in others. But there's just too much quality in that roster, regardless of injuries, for them to be where they are. And I think a strong leader in that environment would make a huge difference. I think JP may grow into a fantastic coach. He was, for me, one of our best wingers in the history of Bok rugby. Just an absolute unit. But young as a coach. And I see that Jake is there and thereabouts involved as some sort of an advisor capacity. If I was at the Sharks, I would definitely be trying to bring him closer to the scene because I think there's structural things there that need to probably get put into place. I think for players, like you're asking players to put their bodies on the line in massive contact situations, if they're not 100% invested in the cause, they're probably not going to do it. So you've got to change that. You've got to get everybody on the same page, pulling in the same direction. And then I think the quality of play on that roster, regardless of the newness of a reboot, I think the quality of play on that roster is good enough to bring the Sharks back into contention. But they do need clarity and they need a mission. The Sharks need a mission.
But if you look at the recruitment of Dobbo and the Stormers, and it's been the antithesis of what we've seen at the Sharks. Homegrown talent is backed here. There's guys who are playing to become Springboks, not seasoned Springboks, who are playing to get these matches out the way, to go back to the Springboks. When they have brought someone back, they brought someone like Reinach back. He's playing the best rugby of his life. People question why you're bringing a 34-year-old to Cape Town. Well, I think we saw that at the end of the tour, the way he played in the Castle Rugby Championship, the way he played, and even his debut match. I mean, he's going to be so instrumental to the development of a youngster like Imad Khan. It was great to see him back on the field. I love watching him when he was playing for Bishops as a schoolboy. He and Sasha, same era. For a lot of people that don't know, Imad Khan's probably one of the best goal kickers. He was one of the best schoolboy goal kickers. Very talented. It was just great to see him get the play of the match, but to go to a place like Bayonne, and I know we're jumping around a bit here, to go to a place like Bayonne and actually do the business there with the Pumas kind of wild card, Clinton Swart on his outside. So it wasn't a Damian Willems, a Sasha, Yuri Mati on his outside. It was a very inexperienced back division that they put out there. But again, there's something right within the Stormers and there's something seriously wrong within the Sharks at the moment. Because you just see how battle-hardened these Stormers are, how they play for each other. Dobbo and Norm Laker, Rito and Darby have got something right with the squad, the mentality of the squad. And I'm loving it that they're not overly reliant and dependent on their Springboks to win big games. They've pretty much done it without them.
Totally, 100%. And that's sort of a theme of Dobbo's teams, is the overachievers. A team full of guys, some of them you haven't heard of, some of them are, you vaguely know who they are, just playing well above their weight, playing out of their socks, and the collective getting the job done. So the Stormers are in a very good space.
And great to see a kid like Wandasili Simelane get an opportunity. They refused to give up on him where they thought there were defensive frailties. They've worked on that. They've looked at what he can do well. And I like it when he plays fullback as well. Gets extra space. He is maturing his game. He's knowing when to go, when to be a bit more conservative. And you think there's still a Warwick Galant and a Damian Willemse there at 15 as options. Good to see Johnny Rhodes back on the field. For those who don't know, he is Zimbabwean born, so he may even end up playing for Zimbabwe at the next World Cup. I know they're on a big recruitment drive, the Zimbabwe Sables. And then a guy like Clinton Swart to come in, ban over 4 penalties, kick 2 conversions, and actually do a job for them. He's always done well for the Pumas. There was a lot of kind of eyebrows raised when he was picked into the Stormers squad and was like, this guy is the opposite of anything the Stormers are about. Yet there's just, to me, so much intelligence that has gone into the Stormers this season where at times I've been critical that they've lacked that kind of rugby intelligence in selections and the way they play because they've always wanted to put on a show. And there just seems to be a greater balance this year. And they are playing some outstanding rugby, and they're playing what's in front of them, and they're playing the situation, and they've got a mix of player that's not cut from the same cloth.
No, totally. They have a wide variety of players, different demographics, different age groups. It's great to have Brocky in the coaching room as well, Deerwald in the coaching room. So there's an evolution, not just in the players, but in the coaches, guys coming through there. The scrum has been amazing. And it's just, like I keep saying it, that next man up thing. Zach Porthen's out, the next guy comes in and steps up. We're just constantly in a situation where you've got Yuri Matia at fly-off, Clinton Swart at fly-off. Just a variety of players and options. We don't even have Kobus Reinach back in the team yet, playing games, and Imad Khan's man of the match. So very good space.
And then you've got Ollie Kebbel finally getting his game. So good to have him back in Cape Town. Ollie Reid is that kid who's just come out of Paul Roos. Hugely talented. Great to see the hookers coming to the fore. Just Connor Evans getting a good run. Salman Marat back on the field. BJ Dixon wanting to play. He got a taste of international rugby again in November. I would have liked more minutes. Came back into the mix. And then Paul de Villiers, SA under-20 captain, Province under-20 captain. I just feel he's been he's had the benefit of working with Dion Fourie. And I just see his game has just matured so much in the last 12 months. And a lot of people now are talking about him as the new Heinrich Brosseau potentially of the Springboks. And he'll need a very, very strong kind of season to convince Rassie that he could be in the mix, because it's not quite the player that Rassie looks at. But he's also shown at a national level that he's willing to adapt and change if a player plays well enough. Albeit not at number 8.
Here we go again.
Did I tell you Evan Roos wasn't bad when he came on?
Yeah, jeez.
But
he's been great. Absolutely brilliant around the breakdown, and high rate of involvements, and huge difference maker.
So a great win at Bayonne, and they went there, they backed their squad depth. As Dobbo said when he left, he said they're going for 2 wins at Munster and Bayonne. I think a lot of people thought, wow, wishful thinking, man. And the temptation would have been there to stick in a Sasha or a Damien or a Kobus, and they were like, no, they've got to go home and rest a bit. They've been on tour for 5 weeks. And those guys had also been on tour for the best part of 10 weeks, because they were with the Rugby Championship.
Yeah.
So with the Boks, they went Wellington, Durban, London, stayed on, and played in those 2 games for you guys, for the Stormers. Then came home and went back for a 5-week tour. So logic said there, come on. Mentally, they're not going to be sharp for that. And we actually believe we have players who are good enough to go and win the game. Yeah. And they did. And I think that's the biggest plus that the Stormers will take from it. And as I said in the beginning of the show, wow, 5 wins in 4 different countries. That's just spectacular, spectacular reward for what was put in at that preseason camp in Neisner. And yeah, I mean, you're part of that setup at the moment. It must be really cool to be a part of a setup that is getting that kind of reward. And and doing it kind of under the radar as well.
Yeah, odd. It's been odd how there hasn't been much fanfare around it. The Stormers have just quietly crept up to the top of the table and kind of stayed there and entrenched themselves, and leading the URC in multiple metrics, and then again just on form and on fire against Bayonne, so making a statement in Europe as well. So hopefully it can continue, mate. Long may it continue.
All right, where was I this weekend, mate?
Mate, you were in Pretoria, mate.
'n blou bil eet nie van die vloer af nie. 'n blou bil ken nie van verloor af nie. The other side just scores a few more points. Because van verloor het hulle geweet hierdie naweek. Went to Loftus, one of my favorite grounds in South Africa. Back in the day when I was with the Boks, and it was still very divided in South Africa, provincially. We played in Cape Town, the All Blacks would get the preferential treatment against us. We were like the pariahs. Get to Ellis Parker was so. Durban was another case of like, the opposition seemed to get more love than we did. But you get to Pretoria, you get to Loftus, and you felt like the Bulls, even though you were with the Boks. You felt like they loved you. You were the home team. And the playing field there, I mean, the great All Black sides always said they wanted to roll that surface up and take it around the world with them. The smell of that, like 5 o'clock kickoff, there's potential of thunderstorms in the air. The grass has just been cut.
Yeah.
And people know their rugby up there more so than anywhere else in this country. I just wish more of them had got to Loftus. What I couldn't believe, there was only 7,500 people at Loftus to watch Bordeaux, the defending champions, the champions of Europe, arguably the best club rugby side in the world, with 16 internationals in their 23, 14 of them French internationals, and half the French side that played the Springboks
Insane.
in Paris was there. Luku, Jalibert, the midfield, Peno, Bilberi. I mean,
That's reason enough to go.
just go and watch
Worth
these
the
guys
price of
play.
admission.
Then you've got Polly back for the Bulls. You've got the bomb squad. They came on in that second half. Didn't quite get detonated, but the Wilco Lows of the world, just to watch him, Gerhard Steenekamp and Hobbies, Ron Nokia, Ulrich Lowe coming back from injury, Sebastian de Klerk has got great potential. Just the quality of players on show. Marco van Staden was there. Marcel Coetzee, the old veteran. That kind of game, I mean, I spoke to Vic Matfield before the game, and he was like, there should be 40,000 people here today.
Surely.
For a game of this quality.
Surely.
But I was well looked after there. Clinton van der Berg, head of communications, formerly of Sunday Times, sports editor, and Supersport, head of comms there. He treated me so well, bought me lots of beers, showed me his office, and then took me to the media room, and I thought he had booked it out for me. It was just me and Sim. Also, formerly of the Sunday Times, doing some work for Media 24 and others. It was just the two of us, Big Vic in and out, Warren Brosnan in and out because they were doing the commentary, and Clinton. And you put on the spread, I mean, about 400 pieces of chicken and rice.
Mate, I know you
and
travel.
dessert
You
and
travel
everything.
with Tupperware, mate. Where is it?
Huh? Extra loads. What's it? Have you bought any food into Cape Town? Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, man.
Wow.
It's just nie reg nie.
Yeah, how? I am surprised by that.
You know what? There seem to be more Bordeaux supporters there than Bull supporters.
Incredible.
And the game also, that first 35 minutes, the last time these two teams met, 46-40, January 2024, 12-try thriller. The Bulls won courtesy of 2 extra penalties. This time, 46-33, the Bulls down 7-0, then 7-all, 14-7, 14-all, 19-14. It went like that. And then 33-22, you look at halftime, you think the Bulls are 33-22 up. They scored 5 tries against the defending champions. These are the guys who smashed Toulouse in the semi-final.
And Wilco and Keo Zels in that Bok bench is still going to come on.
They've still got to come on, mate.
It's game on.
It's game on. The Bulls are going to do something special here. And the first 20 minutes of that second half, the champions come out and they do what a champion team does. They slow that game down. They look to Maxime Luku and Jalibert, who look like Fred Astaire the way he's tap danced his way through that Bulls defense. But Luku with the 50-22s, just an outstanding line kicking game. Just to be there and actually watch how they functioned. And I had the great privilege, obviously, of spending a bit of time with Sean Selby afterwards, with Heinie Adams. Had a brief chat to him, but more so chatted to Sean Selby. Again, for the younger ones out there, Sean Selby made his test debut against Samoa at Loftus in 2002. Played for 10 minutes, then went over to France. Played 100 matches for Toulouse. Before that, he played 50 for Stade Francais. Stade Francais. Then ended off in Grenoble, I think it was, his last season. Coached at Montpellier with Jake. Coached at Biarritz and has been with Bordeaux. He's into his second season. Heine Adams.
Wow.
Played 2 test matches for the Boks. Played 70-odd games for the Bulls.
Yeah.
Went over to Bordeaux. Played there for 10 years as a scrum half of note. And has been on their coaching staff for the last 6 years. He's been there 16 years.
Mate. Wow.
And I can tell you, he still sounds like he comes from Cape Town.
Really?
Yeah, his boot was there as well. His boot loves you. His boot follows you. There's a lot of people that love you, man.
Brilliant, mate.
Well, I was walking around there. Like I said, I bumped into Jake. I told him it's a little bit offside that he's in that mascot. It was hot. It was like 30 degrees. Like, come on, Jake. You can do better than that. I don't know if he was in the Bulls one or the Zebra of Investec, but I knew he was there or thereabouts, okay? You could just feel Jake around. And, and it just, the people like, Waar Zels! I was like for Zels. And I said, yeah, I'm like for Zels. I'm like for Zels. And you know what I figured out? The talkies like me, eh?
Is it?
They like my storytelling.
There we go, mate.
But the woman like you, eh? They like the good-looking guys, Zels. Eh?
I don't really know what
Guys would say, my vrou like for Zels, maar hy groot spiere. Hy so spiere.
Wow.
So yeah, and from Klerksdorp to Krugersdorp, Linwood,
Yeah.
people came over and chatted, and they were like, "Waar Zels, sê vir Zels, ons die groete." And they said it was good to see that we'd make it. And I can again, Sunny and Sherbury, I know we're going to be in Cabrera this weekend together.
Yes.
But I can't keep on taking that cardboard cutout. And Clint van der Berg says he can't keep on kind of nodding as if he is Zels, okay. So we will be in the Windy City
forward
this
to it,
weekend.
mate.
So come and find us, buy Zels a beer, and come give him a hug yourself. I'm getting a bit tired of coming home and giving you all that. But a great experience for me to be at Loftus again.
Yeah.
And we need the Bulls to be strong, and I think they will be strong, eh?
Mate, that first half was solid. I mean, the defense wasn't there. That was something that raised an eyebrow. But the fact that they got into a shootout with Bordeaux and they won that first half was impressive. And it was lined up. I think if they'd managed that second half differently, they probably would have been in the pound seats. But yeah, Bordeaux did a great job in the kicking game, completely blew the Bulls away in that department, controlled the field completely. But great to see Polly. I mean, some beautiful deft touches from Polly. I had to rub my eyes, rewind the PVR and watch again. I actually saw him pass on the move. His skills have improved massively. I don't know if it's his time in the Prem or his time under Tony B.
Tony Brown, the Tony Ball effect.
But yeah, he's playing. He looks comfortable on the ball. The handling is really there. That offload was insane. And yeah, I mean, to have Polly, it's one thing to have Polly, but to have him and have him on form is good stuff. Now they just need to add the defense, and then I think the Bulls are going to be proper contenders.
Well, this is the thing, and given that it was just myself and Sim there, basically had Johan Ackerman to ourselves to chat afterwards. And Ack is also, I really enjoy him as an individual, enjoy him as a coach. I have no doubt he's going to get it right at the Bulls. There's just an honesty about him. There's a humility about him. There's no blaming of the players.
Yeah.
There's no blaming of the coaches. It's an honest assessment. And I kind of asked him a few questions, and he would say that's a fair question. You're right for thinking we should be better. Defensively, he says it's a combination of both. Something's not working with our defensive systems. So that's something the coaches have to look at themselves.
Yeah.
See, do we have the players to defend the way we want to defend? He said, and then you've got players, quality players, internationals, who are making mistakes they shouldn't make. He said, and that is not down to the coach.
Yeah.
That's down to a player, and the player needs to fix that. Systems the coaches need to fix.
Yeah.
He said they don't like to lose. 33-22. He said they should have done better in the second half. It was a game that was there to be won. But the counter is who they were playing. They were playing a very good Bordeaux side.
Right.
A champion team who played like champions in that last 20, in the first 20 of the second half especially, and slowed the game down to a point where that last 10 was not going to be a factor for them, even though their players admitted their lungs were burning in that last 10 minutes. The Bulls didn't do enough to make that altitude factor count.
Yeah.
And we've said it for the last 2 years. Visiting teams are coming to South Africa, they're playing at altitude and they finish in the stronger.
Totally.
It's like they actually are, they're getting it more right than we are. But Akkers was obviously massively disappointed. Again, he said, he could sit here and make excuses. He's not going to make excuses. But 4 of his Springboks, he immediately loses. They don't go to Northampton, part of the Springbok resting protocol. When they come back, he's got to rest the other 4.
Okay.
So he said, you're looking at February, March, before he can pick the best available players. And he says, and that is not just the Bulls, but all the South African teams who have got a lot of Springboks. That is a problem that they sit with, and he doesn't know what the solution is either. You've got to build squad depth, but you do have an issue where you can't get a rhythm going because you don't have a settled team. And that's what people forget. A side like Toulouse, a side like Bordeaux, and a side like Leinster, that was the French backline that played against us, played against the Bulls.
Yeah.
Even though they've been together all the time, Toulouse, half the French team plays.
Yep.
For Toulouse. And then you've got 13 of the 15 Leinster players are the island starting lineup. So they never lose that continuity.
Yeah.
Where you look at the Stormer side that's going to play against La Rochelle will probably have maybe 6 or 7 changes to it. The Bull side will have 8 or 10 changes to it.
Yeah.
The Sharks are going to have probably 14 or 15 changes to it when they host Saracens. So that stop-start is a complication.
Yeah.
And it makes it adds to the complexities for the South African teams, but also how tough this competition is for so many teams to balance your domestic, the Prem, top 14 URC, and be competitive.
Totally.
In the Investec Champions Cup.
Totally.
But
I suppose the Lions have got the opposite problem, right? They're in the Challenge Cup. They don't even have 4 Springboks, current box, I don't think. And they went down to Benetton. And then, the Cheetahs, not great against Exeter.
Yeah, I think the Lions, Benetton beat them as well in the URC last season. Very disappointing. They were up 18-11 going into the last 8-9 minutes of that match. That you'd think they would close.
That comes back to your half-fault thing.
And there, the Benetton were the stronger, and also the clever with that.
I think our half-fault teams try and sort of bum rush guys in the first 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and run them off their feet, and then hope that that's going to reward them at the end of the game. But teams have understood how to pace themselves on the half-fault. Traveling teams, visiting teams. And I think they're just in absorb mode those first 30 minutes. You throw all your punches, you punch yourself out, and then in the second half, it's even Stevens, and you don't have the gas to finish strong. I think those high-fault teams maybe take a look at how they're closing out these games, because we look dead on our feet at the end.
But if you come back to the way and we saw that last year with the Bulls, and the way teams finished, and even that Bordeaux 46-42 seasons ago, the Bulls were way ahead in one stage.
Yeah.
And Bordeaux came back into it. So what I loved about Bordeaux's approach is they started like that house on fire and scored within 3 minutes. Damien Penaud is just such a quality winner. And he beat 5-6 players just with great footwork on the touchline. And him and Bielberry, to any South African winner as well, playing in this competition. The lesson is they don't go into touch. They don't die with the ball. They keep it alive, and they look for that mismatch against locks, against props.
Yeah.
And their footwork kind of dazzles and beats them. But there is an approach, like you spoke about it in the URC last season, that we actually think that these guys are going to go with us and go toe-to-toe, and they don't. And they seem to have the reserves in them. But the Lions' home defeat, that kind of already puts them on the back foot. The Cheetahs lost away to Exeter, while all their games are kind of away from home. They base themselves in Amsterdam for their 2 home games. There's not going to be much joy for them in the EPCR Challenge Cup. Our best bet there is so the Sharks do drop down and they go on a run like they did 2 seasons ago, and they win the thing.
Yeah.
The Bulls, Akka said, home games, it's non-negotiable. You drop your home game straight up. You go to Northampton, for example, with 5-6 of your Springboks unavailable. It's hard to get back in there. They're starting to think Challenge Cup as well. The Stormers, where we're going to be flying the flag. Speaking to Salby, he said there was such regard for the Bulls' attack that they felt it's going to be a 50-40 game, that they would have to score 50 points to win, because they were convinced that the Bulls were capable of scoring 40. And at 33-22 at halftime, he would have been on the money. And you talk about Polly, he's looking leaner. He's looking enthusiastic. Victor Matfield said at halftime, great first half performance from Polly, and a reminder to the South African public, this guy can still play and he's only 31. For me, his willingness to take on the line, off the Sunny Bull in the tackle to Akker under the poles would be my Stecker power play of the moment.
Great call, mate. It was between him and Imad Khan, I thought, but Polly's a great choice.
Well, we can't be Stormers biased now.
That's true.
Because I went to Pretoria and they got me.
And Kane and Rudy's goose and go. That was also nice.
They converted me.
Yeah.
All it took was a hug from the mascot.
You're in.
A hug from the mascot, a zebra, and 400 pieces of chicken from Clinton, and a nice castle log, and I was in.
Yeah.
I was in. I arrived there wearing a shade of blue and our left wearing a darker shade of blue.
There you go, mate.
The Bulls blue. So people know we're not just all about the Stormers. We're about north, south. We're about winners. We don't back donkeys. We only back stallions. And at the moment, the Sharks are donkeys. Okay? Yeah. The Lions are donkeys. Okay? The Cheetahs are donkeys. Okay?
Come on, boys. Come
The
back
Bulls
to life.
have the ability to be a stallion, and the Stormers are the stallions. Come on. It's so good that they're winning at the moment. You sit here, you're so understated, Zels. You are humbled with success. Or you just look like you've been working way too hard.
No, man, it's been great. It's been great, and you can't ask for a better start, right? So, some tough games coming up. Obviously, La Rochelle, some real players in that side. Then the Lions have been a bogey team for the Stormers before. Then we take on those Bulls you just spoke about. There's some huge games coming up, and it's summertime. The sun's high in the sky. The temperature goes up. The fatties don't like it. The backs love it, and I'm sure that DHL Stadium is going to be packed, so it's going to be good.
Well, Investec Champions Cup action, so they play the doubleheader. So it was last weekend, and it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday again, and we'll be in Kibera, Zels and myself, at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium, and I believe there's going to be 30,000 plus at that ground. The reason they're not playing there in Cape Town is because there's a motocross, big extravaganza, and then that's going to be kind of taking the DHL Stadium to capacity, as happened this weekend with the World Series Sevens. And I must say, I quite enjoyed being in Pretoria and just watching that on the telly and not near the chaos of the waterfront. The Uber driver this morning told me he took someone from Greenpoint to Woodstock, which is 5 Ks. Picked them up at 5 o'clock on Sunday, got them home at 7 o'clock.
What?
2 hours, he said. He said he was exhausted. He had to go home and sleep, okay?
Stop for petrol on the way, mate.
Yeah, something like that. He said the guy should have actually just walked. But the Blitzboks, they did it.
Brilliant.
They won it. Lots of Castle Lager consumed there. Legacy cans, that competition's still going. 130,000 rand to be won. Rally your mates, rally your troops, kind of get in there. But plenty consumed. And just great the way the young, and it's a very young Blitzboks team at the moment.
Yeah.
And great to see a guy like Donovan Don from Boland, who did so well in the Currie Cup, playing on the wing for the Blitzboks. But they beat New Zealand with 2 yellow cards that they had in the opening round. Came back, beat Fiji as well. Saw France is becoming a bit boring beating France. And then a thriller against
Las Pumas.
21-19. And for a side who couldn't win in Cape Town for the best part of a decade, they've now backed it up with back-to-back titles.
Back-to-back.
So what is this back-to-back stuff? Back-to-back World Cups, back-to-back Castle Rugby Championships, and back-to-back Sevens titles in Cape Town.
That's fabulous, man. And they really do fly on the fuel provided by that crowd. I mean, that really does energize them. You've seen it now in back-to-back tournaments in Cape Town. Somehow they've got to find a way to bottle that and take it with them when they go overseas. And keep that flame burning, because the Blitzboks are great. When they're confident and they're going forward, they are something to behold. And some absolutely amazing players in terms of their flair and their speed, their explosiveness, and their agility. It's just beautiful to watch. Hopefully Ronnie Brown, I'm not sure how long he's going to be out there. His arm in a sling, but hopefully he's back soon.
Great. And then also to see Australia pump the Black Ferns in that final 19-0 up, 26-12 they won. The Levi sisters, they can play those two. They really are.
Genes.
They've got good genes. I mean, they can play. So all round, just a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I know you went putt-putting with
glorious.
Mac. Brave guy. You went at the sevens. You could hear the roar.
I could hear it.
You could hear the roar every time Mighty Mac put one in and putt with Taryn. So you had a great weekend. Yeah. I had a great weekend. I was on the plains, in and out, but I was at Loftus. Just don't give up on the Bulls and don't give up on the Sharks. We're going to chat in greater detail Thursday about the Bulls going to Northampton, the Sharks hosting a very, very good Saracen side, and another one of the French giants, Ronan O'Gara's La Rochelle, are going to be in South Africa. And this is basically the decider. It was 1-1 when they came to Cape Town. Mani Lebok kicked that last minute conversion in the league stages, and in the last 16, when they played again in that same season, 2 seasons back, he didn't kick the last minute conversion. 1 point separated the teams on both occasions. This time it is kind of neutral ground in Kibera, but it's also a home ground because no one loves the Stormers more than the people from the Windy City.
And their support. Superb drive. Well, I didn't hear it initially, did the player?
Pollard changes direction.
A brilliant start for the Stormers inside the opening 90 seconds. Goodness me, that's magnificent.